I saw her crouched under a flickering light, eating roadkill. That was the last normal moment of my life. College had a way of blurring the lines between wisdom and recklessness. That night, I leaned into the blur. Hazel was the kind of friend who could convince a stone to dance, and I was no stone. She tugged at my arm until I gave in. "Come on," she said, eyes gleaming with the electric sheen of youth. "After parties are even more fun." She wasn't wrong. The apartment was already overflowing by the time we arrived. Bass thumped like a second heartbeat, and lights flickered in half rhythms that made the room feel like a dream dissolving mid-thought. I drank slowly, careful not to drown. The seniors were generous, their pour heavy, their laughter heavier. A few boys brushed close enough to make promises with their eyes. I smiled and laughed, but didn't bite. By the time the clock melted past 2, the party had thinned. Hazel found a couch and declared she was staying. I declined. I slept better in my own bed, and my dorm was just 2 blocks away. The night air wrapped around me like a second skin, cool, damp, not unfriendly. Fog pooled low on the streets, softening the world to a whisper. The city was quieter than I remembered. Even the streetlights seemed unsure of themselves, flickering like candlelight, hesitant and watchful. I wasn't drunk, only softened. My heels clicked like nervous metronomes, and I carried them in my hands after the first block. The sidewalk felt rough under my bare feet, grounding me in a way I hadn't expected. An owl hooted from a nearby tree, deep and resonant. I paused, the sound echoing through the hollow spaces of my chest. It was oddly comforting, a reminder that I wasn't completely alone. Then I turned the corner. Under a sputtering halo of yellow light, I saw her. She was crouched low to the pavement, hands spread on the concrete like a creature mid-prowl. Her form was small, but wrong, angled in ways that suggested tension, hunger. At first, I thought she might be homeless, maybe looking for something she dropped. Her shoulders jerked with strange rhythm, like she was choking on laughter or tears. I slowed. That's when I smelled it. A sour, coppery stench that made the inside of my nose feel raw. I squinted, trying to pierce the fog. The thing on the ground in front of her was barely recognizable, a mess of fur and crushed bone. Roadkill, probably. A cat? Maybe a raccoon? Hard to say. And she wasn't mourning it. She was eating it. She tore at it with her hands, bony fingers slick with blood, and shoved the meat into her mouth like a starving animal. The sound reached me before the sight did. A wet, greedy slurping that made my skin crawl in slow-motion revulsion. She hadn't seen me yet. I was frozen. Then, very slowly, I began to cross the road. I didn't take my eyes off her. Each step across the road was measured, not out of grace, but fear, my body moving with the stiff precision of prey. I gripped my heels tight, their straps curled between my fingers like fragile weapons. The woman hadn't moved. Her face was bowed low, hair like a curtain of wet threads hiding her expression. She was utterly consumed by her feast. Strings of red and pink clung to her lips. Her hands didn't move like hands. They clawed and curled, scraping through viscera with the patience of something used to darkness. I thought I could get away. Quietly, calmly. Then something above rustled, wings slicing air, and an owl swooped just inches above my head. I gasped. The sound left my mouth before I could stop it. A sharp, startled breath that broke the silence like glass. Her head snapped up, and suddenly I was seen. Her eyes found mine with terrifying clarity. Wide, luminous, and human. Not glowing, exactly, but alive in a way that made me feel smaller than I'd ever felt before. As if I were the intruder, not her. A strip of flesh hung from her mouth like a ribbon of accusation. Her jaw twitched once, then stilled. I could see the rawness of her gums. The corners of her lips stretched into something that was not a smile, not quite. We stared at each other. The streetlight above her sputtered, and for one moment, just one, her shadow split across the pavement, long and narrow and wrong. She stood, not like a person stands, not with balance or effort. She unfolded. Her knees didn't seem to work right. Her arms hung too long at her sides, elbows like bent hooks. Then, in a voice like a broken violin string, she screamed. It wasn't a sound made for language. It was echo and mimicry. It was a cruel copy of the small sound I had made when the owl startled me. The same pitch, same shape, only twisted, like it had been replayed from a machine that didn't quite understand human fear, but admired it all the same. I dropped my shoes and ran. There was no grace in it. No control. My breath came in jagged pulls. My legs barely listened to me, but terror made them move. Behind me, I heard the slap of bare feet on concrete. Fast. Inhumanly fast. And laughter. Not joyful, but delighted. Hungry. I didn't dare look back. Not yet. My only goal was distance, blocks and blocks of it, until the fog swallowed her, or me, or both. But when I finally did glance over my shoulder, she was already across the road, sprinting, hands outstretched, mouth open, and she was laughing like a child at play. The world had collapsed into two things, my breath and her footsteps. Each inhalation was laced with acid, my lungs burning with the effort of running. The cold air cut down my throat like blades. And yet, I couldn't stop. Not while I still heard her behind me. Not while her laughter spilled across the fog like an old nursery rhyme warped by static. My feet hit the ground hard, bare skin scraping against asphalt, the skin likely splitting. I didn't care. The pain was welcome. It reminded me I was still alive. The buildings on either side of me blurred, empty windows staring like hollow eyes. Not a single light switched on. No voices, no cars. Just me, the dark, and the thing chasing me. When I finally tripped, it was over nothing. My legs simply failed. I hit the pavement, elbows first, and skidded slightly. The burn of torn skin ignited down my arms. I pushed myself up with shaking hands, too afraid to cry out. Only when I turned, panting, did I realize she was gone. Gone. I scanned the fog. My eyes jumped from one shadow to the next. A mailbox. A tree. A bench. No sign of her. For a moment, the world fell silent again. Not peacefully, never peacefully, but like the hush before a trap is sprung. Then I heard it. Click, click, click. A slow, deliberate tapping against the pavement. Not footsteps this time. Fingernails. She was crawling now. Somewhere close. I turned too quickly and nearly lost my balance again. Every part of me screamed to move, to run, but where? I didn't even know which direction I'd been going. Everything looked the same. Just rows of houses with dead lawns, parked cars like silent witnesses, and the mist that made the world feel like a memory. I saw the edge of a street lamp ahead, my final beacon. Pushing myself upright, I limped toward it, every step driven by a single hope, that maybe the light could hold her back. Maybe she was something that couldn't stand to be seen. I didn't make it far. A sudden sound burst behind me, a shriek, rising like a flame. And I turned in time to see her sprinting again, arms stretched like wings, her feet barely touching the ground. I ran. I didn't look back this time. I only looked forward. My dorm. It had to be close. It had to be. I was running on muscle memory alone now. Each step a prayer, each second longer than the last. I passed alleyways that yawned open like mouths, and still she chased. My mind stopped registering her footsteps, only the dread that thickened with every heartbeat. And then, silence. I stopped running, stopped breathing. She wasn't behind me anymore, but that was somehow worse. I turned slowly, afraid that the quiet would shatter. Nothing, just fog, curling low like fingers dragging across the ground. My pulse pounded in my ears, too loud, too alive. I could still feel the vibration of her scream in my chest, like it had embedded itself beneath my ribs. I forced myself to move again, half dragging my foot, one ankle now throbbing with sharp pain. My dorm was close. I knew it. I could see the outline of the red brick building through the mist, faint and soft like a dream just out of reach. Then something shifted behind me. I froze, and she was there. Not running now, just standing, 10 feet away, smiling, watching. She wasn't breathing heavily like I was. There was no sweat, no sign of strain. Her body looked fragile in the mist, almost childlike in its stillness. But her eyes were far too knowing, ancient and cruel. She tilted her head to one side, a curious gesture, like she was deciding what to do with me. I took a step back. She took one forward. Then I whispered, through chattering teeth, "What do you want?" She didn't answer. Instead, she raised one hand to her mouth and with long, slow fingers, pulled something from between her teeth. A piece of flesh, pink, threaded with red. She looked at it for a moment, as though inspecting its worth. Then she flicked it at me. It landed at my feet with a soft, sickening sound. I collapsed, not because she'd touched me, not because she'd hurt me, but because something inside me unraveled in that moment. I curled up on the sidewalk, shivering, my knees drawn to my chest like I was trying to hide inside myself. And then she did the strangest thing. She clapped. 3 times. Slow. Mocking. Like I was some performance she found amusing. Then she turned away, with a peculiar hop in her step. Light, like a little girl playing hopscotch, she vanished into the fog. I lay there for a long time, staring up at the dead sky, waiting for her to return. She never did. Eventually, I found the strength to stand. I don't remember walking the rest of the way. Just flashes. The shape of the door. The warmth of the stairwell. The cold tile floor of. I woke up the next afternoon with a fever burning through me. My sheets were soaked. My body shook uncontrollably for hours. I never told anyone. Not Hazel. Not the campus police. Not even my therapist. What could I say? That I saw a woman eating roadkill like a dog, who chased me down like I was next. No, I keep it quiet. I bury it. But I never walk home alone anymore. And when I do go out, I always stay the night. If the party ends late, so do I. Because sometimes, when the fog rolls in and the streets go quiet, I still hear her laugh.